basically I'm hacking the skin off. If I was going to skin it for, like a skin a deer head to mount it, I tried that once, and it was a disaster. I ruined the hide. So he went in the Beetles. Hi, my name is Mark Smith, and I use dermestid beetles or museum beetles to clean the flesh off of skulls to do European mounts for customers. Here's some rabbit heads. Rabbit heads are kind of cool. They're very lightweight, skeletonized. And the reason I use the Beetles instead of boiling and pressure wash and scrape is that the Beetles deliver a much better product, much better finished product. All the nooks and crannies are completely clean, and the delicate nasal structures, all the delicate bones are left undamaged by the Beetles, whereas pressure wash and scraping damages them. All this bone right here is really fragile, very fragile. So if you want to preserve it, the Beetles are the way to go.
The dermestid beetle flesh cleaning process takes 4 steps, which takes 4 to 10.5 days depending on the critter. Well, former critter, I suppose. The process starts with decapitation. The head, which is kept frozen, is thawed before its spare flesh and organs are removed. Then, the hungry beetles are released to eat every bit of flesh off the bone. After the bugs are satisfied, the skull is boiled to remove excess grease. And finally, the skull gets a nice 2-day-long bath and bleach before we arrive at the final product, a fleshless skull.
Tongue's out. I'm going to take the eyeballs out. I'm going to take the brain out. The eyeballs and the brain it's fine for the beetles to eat them. In fact, the brain is good for them, but it speeds up the process to take as much of the stuff off as you can get. I just like so many other people, was interested in the Beetles, but I was also interested in the finished product, the European mount, because the European mount, I charge $120 for a European mount, from skinning all the way to bleaching done. And to get a shoulder mount with the fur on, it looks like the deer sticking on the wall, they're at $600, $700, $800. So this is like an airlock room, right? And you can see there is a couple beetles on the floor. The beetle room is temperature controlled and humidity controlled, and then there's an exhaust fan that exhausts the air outside. So it draws air underneath the door here and underneath the door there. So this room stinks a little bit, this room stinks a lot, and outside doesn't stink at all, we hope. Stuff down here, it's called frass, and it's a combination of beetle poop, dead beetles, dead adults, and that's basically it. The styrofoam is in there because the adults like to be able to lay their eggs in styrofoam or wood. They also lay on the skulls, but they like the styrofoam. So this styrofoam back here used to look like that. There's not a whole lot of flesh on top of the skull, so it looks like they've done a lot. But the whole entire nasal cavity and the brain cavity and all the little nooks and crannies, it takes them a little while. So and then another advantage of the beetles over boiling is that they get, if you leave it in there long enough, they get to every single piece of meat. So there's nothing left in there after the process is done to rot and smell. And they like the meat to be drier than wetter. They don't like real dried out. It's kind of hard for them to chew. If this skull was ready to go into the boiling, it's not yet, but if it was, I've got a pan that it sits in. The pan hits it here, about and about where my right hand is, so that I can fill it up with water, and I fill the water up just enough to cover the skull, and a little bit more. And then this protects the delicate, the bark on here from being boiled off. Right now it's protecting from the beetles eating it off, but then once it goes in the boil, this will protect it from boiling off. And then after that's done, after it's done boiling, I take it out, cut this off, and then I'm pretty much done with them, and then I bleach the skull. So that coyote's been bleached once, and I'm going to bleach him again just to whiten him up. It's a pain in the butt to clean the head, and then when it's in the beetles it's fine because you don't have to do anything. Boiling it's a pain in the butt. Bleaching it's a pain in the butt. It's all a pain in the butt. So getting done is the best part.